Hi, if you are like me, you are thinking, I am so done with 2020. Well, luckily this is the new Kia Seltos, and it's a 2021. Now, before we get into it with this car, I'd like to ask you that if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to the CarGurus YouTube channel. And we want to hear your thoughts in the comments section below, so don't be shy. Now, Kia has been running laps around the competition lately. In one corner, you've got its exciting Stinger GT sports sedan. In another, there's the Sorento crossover, which just won our Best Used Car Award for 2020. And then there's the Telluride, which just 1 year after debuting is already one of the most popular new cars among CarGurus shoppers. With the Seltos, Kia is trying to bottle some of that Telluride magic and sell it at a more accessible price point and in a more accessible size. Starting at the front, I love this textured chrome strip around the grille, which is starting to develop into a real signature style for this brand, giving Kia an easily identifiable look. The tiger nose grille design hasn't always worked. For instance, I think it's kind of a disaster on the Cadenza sedan. But with the Seltos and the larger Telluride, Kia has shown that it can scale this design for different size cars, rather than applying a one-size-fits-all approach like some automakers have. The two-tone paint scheme looks spectacular, but it's only available on select trims and with select colors, and it costs $345 no matter how you do it. Similarly, these wheels are something else. I'm not sure they're my style, they kind of look like some sort of weapon, but if you like them, you'll need to pay for a turbo model. This is a Kia Seltos SX Turbo trim. It has all the flash you can get on a Seltos minus the sunroof, but it still came in at less than $30,000. The belt line rises up dramatically in the rear, naturally drawing your eyes up to one of my favorite features. The roof rails extend past their supports at the end, giving a seriously dashing aesthetic to the top portion of the car's profile. It's a small detail and frankly not very practical, but hey, I like it. I also really like the LED headlights and these pods of fog lights on either side. And then there's this painted kind of faux skid plate, which really altogether gives the Seltos a very sporty and adventurous vibe. Now the Seltos is an affordable crossover, and that means that there will be a lot of hard plastic inside. Luckily, Kia seems to have done it right, and most of the things that I spend time touching are covered in soft materials. For instance, there's this strip of leather just below the touchscreen where my hand typically rests. Little details like that, and suddenly I'm not focused as much on the hard plastic. And this screen is a perfect centerpiece. Even at 10¼ inches, it doesn't dominate the dash. Lower trims have an 8-inch screen. Not quite as dramatic, but certainly not problematic. The seats are comfortable, the leather-wrapped steering wheel feels great, and the center console, the lid slides forward, in case you have short arms. Get going and you'll find that the steering is pretty responsive, it's very direct. The Seltos definitely exhibits a little more body roll than I'd like, but that's kind of what you get when you choose a crossover. I haven't had the pleasure of testing the base Seltos engine, a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder that makes 146 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque. That said, the turbo engine in this car, it has plenty of hustle. 175 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque from the 1.6-liter 4-cylinder doesn't sound like a huge upgrade, but I haven't wanted for more this week. The brake pedal, on the other hand, is way too grabby for my taste. You'll probably get used to it after an hour or so behind the wheel. I did, but it was particularly annoying around town. Now, the dual-clutch transmission that comes in turbo trim Seltos is a little jerky at low speeds, but it's pretty good at managing power, particularly as you're getting up to highway speed or you're just ripping around back roads. Now the non-turbo Seltos get a continuously variable transmission, and if you get a front-wheel drive S trim, it actually replaces the fairly sophisticated multi-link rear suspension with a rudimentary torsion beam setup. You might not need all-wheel drive, but the upgraded rear suspension is likely worth the extra cost. Plus, the all-wheel drive system is surprisingly robust with torque vectoring and a locking differential. The EX is the Goldilocks of the group. It has all-wheel drive and it tacks on the options you'll likely want. Push-button start, wireless phone charging, a standard sunroof, and blind spot monitoring with rear cross-traffic alert. These may seem like little additions, but they will transform the Seltos from a car you like into a car you love. Regardless of the trim, the Seltos has a nice big greenhouse, big windows, lots of light and visibility, but it does get hot, and the single zone climate control hasn't really been up to the job of keeping things cool. I've been testing this car during a heat wave, and after a couple hours of driving, I felt pretty cooked. Our test car had heated seats. I would have loved ventilated ones. On the tech front, Kia's Yuvo infotainment system continues to dominate. I said in our Honda Civic review that nothing beat Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and they are really good, but I also have not plugged my phone in a single time during the week I've had the Seltos. Yuvo is that good. The default home display features 3 large tiles, one for navigation, one for audio, one for weather. It offers very fast swipe and icon response, and it's easy to understand with a beautiful mix of on-screen interactions and physical buttons and knobs. Buy a Seltos with an 8-inch screen, and many of these buttons migrate up to the left and right sides of the touchscreen. I like how they're laid out, but I will admit that the passenger side buttons and the tuning knob are a bit of a reach for someone my size. I'm 5'10". The driver information display is simple and straightforward, and I love the feel of the steering wheel controls. The optional Bose stereo sound is really just adequate. It's lacking some of that bassy depth, and normally I'm okay with that, but the highs feel a little muted too. And while they get points for being different, I'm not sure I'd love the physical speaker designs if I had to live with them for 3 or 5 years, and I seriously doubt I'd even like them after 7 or 10 years. If safety is a priority, skip the bare bones LX trim. There's just not much there in terms of advanced driver assistance systems. That said, automatic emergency braking, lane keeping assist, and lane follow assist are all standard on the S, EX, and S Turbo trims. Our SX Turbo adds adaptive cruise control and safe exit assist, a clever feature that warns passengers of oncoming traffic before they open their doors. Reserving adaptive cruise control for the most expensive Seltos feels a little cheeky because I love that feature, and personally, it would be high on my list of priorities if I were shopping for a new car. The Seltos offers great rear seat legroom, and there's really good headroom in the front and the rear. Now the trunk kinda tricked me. You can set it at this height, which allows for a flat loading floor for when you drop the rear seat to move your 60-inch TV. Or you can remove the floor and refit it at this height, which is better for maximizing space behind the rear seat. All told, the Seltos offers 26.6 cubic feet of cargo space behind the back seat and 62.8 cubic feet when you fold that seat down. That means that although it is a bit shy with the seat up, when that seat's down, the Seltos actually provides more cargo space than the larger Kia Sportage. So, the Kia Seltos is a subcompact crossover with great tech and clever design. It may compete with cars like the Nissan Kicks and Toyota CHR on paper, but its all-wheel drive will likely put it ahead of those front-wheel drive cars for a lot of shoppers. That means the field is likely comprised of the Subaru Crosstrek, Jeep Renegade, the new Mazda CX-30 and Chevy Trailblazer, and the Hyundai Kona, which shares much of its platform with the Seltos. That's tough competition, and the segment is only getting more crowded. So we'd like to know where you'd put the Seltos in your rankings. Let us know in the comments, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.